You better get yourself together. Yeah, you better love yourself. You better take care of yourself. You can't love no one else if you don't love yourself.
What's up, everybody? You know, today is the day that we have all been waiting for. This is the podcast, All in the Ming. Got my dog Stacy, Precious P, X, Marquise, and me, Seth Roscoe P on the MIC. We in here today, and we have a special guest. I don't know what to say. There's many words that we could use, but one word I definitely will use. She is definitely pioneer status. You know, starting from doing poetry, hosting, being a public figure nowadays, and she even has her own podcast. We have Courtnay, the poet. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Pioneer. I'm going to add it to my resume.
Please. You definitely do a lot to bring everyone out.
Definitely,
you know, like,
Thank you.
I believe, just me personally, I think people do go broke for the weekend when trying to
they definitely do.
come out and step out for you. It's like, oh, Courtney's throwing something, so babe, let me go ahead and let me get that card so I can go online and step. Big stepper status.
Thank
but
you. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
definitely appreciate you for coming here today.
Thank you.
We truly do.
So you are originally from Mount Pleasant, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm actually from a small town called Alwindal. And it's right outside of Mount Pleasant. It's still in Charleston County. I went to Charleston County schools, but it's a rural town called Alwindal. My grandfather incorporated the town. He was the first mayor there. He was the mayor for 17 years there. So I'm very proud to be from Alwindal.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right.
Well, you know, I'm from the city, so Alwindal life, Alwindal surroundings, I don't know what that's like, you know. Can you like break it down, you know?
You know, it's very different. Country living is different. You know, I tell people all the time and they laugh at me, you know, but it's a real thing. I never saw a homeless person until I was 21 when I moved to Charlotte.
Wow.
Because in the country, that's just something that you don't got nowhere to live. Like that sounds crazy. You stay with your auntie or your uncle or, your cousin, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not without a place to stay or eat or, like everybody has a home, in the country. So when I was 21, I moved to Charlotte. That was the first time I saw a homeless person. And I was like, what is that? Like, I hear about it, you see movies and things, but I actually never saw a homeless person until I was 21.
Okay, wow. Wow, that's interesting.
So yeah, country living is somebody always cooking, you always gonna eat, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely everybody having a hand in rearing, everybody else's kid, you know what I'm saying? Like you get off at the school bus at your cousin or your auntie house, like it's really the best kind of living. I think that the country living keeps me grounded in the humble person I am because it's just like I'm still a country girl at heart.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's like we a village, It's like
definitely
even if we don't know you, whatever, it's still somebody is willing to.
Everybody went to church. It wasn't everyone went to church. Like that wasn't. My grandfather was a preacher as well, so it wasn't everybody that I knew growing up. Everybody went to church, even the drunks, even the ones who was on drugs. Like everybody went to church on Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like that kind of village was just like a real thing.
Okay.
Cool.
That's neat.
Go ahead, Stacey, you got it.
Alrighty.
I had to smack it. I'm like, he ready. Go ahead.
I just really got a question like, see, I really don't go out that much, you know what I'm saying? I mostly like, go out here and there, but I heard something about you, when you first started in your promotion, you got into exotic poetry. So how did that come about?
So that's not how I started.
Oh, that's all like
But no. So I went to the School of the Arts in North Charleston, the Charleston County School of Performing Arts. I went there for middle and high school. So I was always into theater. I was always into writing poetry. I moved to Charlotte when I was 21. I started doing promotion up there. Charlotte is huge in the poetry scene. But in Charlotte, I felt like small fish, big pond, right? So I was learning all these things. I was doing poetry shows up there. I was doing parties and stuff in Charlotte. And I was like, I can come home. Ain't nobody doing this type of stuff in Charleston. You know what I'm saying? So I came home and started doing it. I'd always been a popular person because I went to school in the city, but I was from the country. My granddad was a preacher in the city. So, a lot of people knew me from all over. And I always had a talent. So then I said, you know what? I don't want to do just parties anymore. I want to do poetry shows. So it started with Neo Soul Sunday downtown, actually in 2009 at LJ Hughie's downtown on King Street. And it grew to about 200 and something people, but I was making about like $3,000 a month doing the show, right? Now this is back in 2009, so I'm like, I'm working at the hotel, I'm as a manager, and I might be making like $2,500 a month, right? As a hotel manager, and I was working at Outback in Mount Pleasant, and I was doing private like home caretaking. I had 3 jobs, and I'm like, you know,
I get it.
So I was doing this one thing, right? And so I talked to my mom and I quit my job, and that's how I started making poetry a full-time thing. The erotic poetry thing came in because I'm like, okay, times are changing, life is getting more expensive, I gotta do something else. So I got this Neo Soul Sunday thing and it's working for me, but I gotta bring in the masses of Charleston, right? I had a really nice core, sexy, grown audience, and that's cool. But if this is going to be a business of mine, there have to be different sectors of the business, right? So I got my grown folk poetry. Now I got to get my Turner poetry, cool, right? You know what I'm saying? And sex sells, you know. So I started doing the erotic poetry. Even when I'm hosting, I'm very witty, I'm very flirtatious. I say a lot of things that I don't mean. It just come off the dome real quick. Right. So when I would host, I would always say some slick, nasty stuff or whatever the case may be, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get into doing erotic shows. And the erotic poetry show, I started it in 2011, so 2 years after I started Neo Soul Sunday, I started the erotic show, and that just kind of took off. Like it just, I was doing like 200 people at a regular Neo Soul Sunday poetry. Erotic poetry was doing like 400 people. Oh, wow. And then what happened was how it grew, what a lot of people don't know is my mentor had me running a club called Blue Magic with him, and then Blue Magic got shut down, and then he was opening up another club called Vegas, and he wanted me to run that, and in that interim he was like, let's just not do anything so we can put all our effort into this club, Vegas. And I didn't do a show for about a year and some change. So the year off had people anticipating, so when I came back and did it, that's when it went to 1,500 people, because people hadn't had a show in a year and a half's time, you know what I'm saying? So the thirst was there. So in 2014, when everybody started hearing about it, it was because I had took a year off from doing the show, because we were working on getting a building open. And so that's when it was like, oh, it done grew up. I gotta keep doing this, you know, turning the wheel. So that's how erotic poetry really took off, and it's because I didn't do it for a year and a half, and people just wanted it really bad. Okay. So that's how that started. Okay.
And what was the other one you said you was doing? The erotic, and what is the other one?
Neo Soul Sunday was my original show. Actually,
so what is that? What is that? Can you tell
Neo Soul Sunday is my baby. Mm-hmm. It is the core of, you know, what art is to me. So Neo Soul Sunday would be a show downtown. It would be a live band. Mm-hmm. It would be poets, open mic artists could come through and perform. It was just a vibe. It was like Love Jones, but on steroids. Okay. You know, it was because, you know, we wasn't snapping. People was clapping, and it was just a really big deal. Like a lot of folk were coming out. They looked really nice. Like that was a Sunday thing to do once a month. Right. It was really, and we were still downtown. We still had a black-owned venue downtown Charleston, so it was just amazing, you know. Mm-hmm. And shout out to LJ Hughie for opening the door for me back in 2009, actually, to do that. But it was just that type of vibe, man. And this is actually the 15-year anniversary. I started in 2009. Oh, wow. So this is 15 years anniversary. We are actually working on a 15-year anniversary show. It's either going to be at Charleston Music Hall, or I'm currently talking to Miss Edie down at the African American Museum to do the show there also, but the space is just a little too small, so we may not do it there. But we're also in talk with Charleston Music Hall or either the African American Museum to do the 15-year anniversary show for Neo Soul Sunday.
That sounds good. Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome.
All right. So what is your biggest life lesson?
What's the biggest one? Because I got a bunch of them. Okay. But I would say the biggest life lesson, trust God. Mm-hmm. And there's a bunch, and I can't, it's so many things, y'all. I've been through so much. Right. But I would have to say trusting God is just, because there were times that I didn't. And I can be honest and be like, there were times that me and God just did not get along. I couldn't understand.
Sorry for cutting you off. But you was big on church, right?
Yeah.
So how you just going from like
It happens.
trusting God?
It do happen now. It do.
Yeah, well, okay, so a specific incident, and I'll tell you. So in 2019, I opened up the restaurant Vibes, and October 15th of 2019 is when I opened.
Okay.
COVID happened March of 2020. From October 2019 to March 2020, I grossed $2.2 million. God. The world shut down. I couldn't understand
What?
why God let this happen to me. I'm like, I had bust my butt my whole career. I'm finally in this moment. In 5 months, I grossed $2.2 million, unheard of, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right?
Yes, sir.
COVID happened, bills, and not only that, we opened up in October. I'm like, I did not expect all of this. I go get another building in November. Right, I'm like, because people got it mixed up. Vibes was a restaurant. I was like, but I need a club, so I went and got the club down the street in November to open up a club. Right, so I could separate. Okay, we got a restaurant over here, and then the club is down the street.
Right,
and then I dumped a bunch of money into this building, and then I couldn't even open the building because COVID happened. You know, they couldn't do, and I finally got open in the middle of COVID, but by then you couldn't sell alcohol after 11 o'clock, and this is a club, you know, specifically a club. So people ain't coming out here till 10 o'clock. We can't serve liquor till 11, you know. And I'm just going through all these things. I spent all this money trying to make this vision of mine, which was the restaurant, make sense with the club down the street. And I didn't think COVID was going to be what it was. So I'm like, I didn't even do PPP the first time. I'm like, I'm not worried about that. I got money in the bank. And it kept going. I'm like, oh, this is real. This is happening. It is going down, right? This is happening. Like, you know, so I just literally was so upset. I'm like, God, like how did I get here? How did I see the money? How did I see the millions? How did I see it? And then I'm struggling to keep my business open. I got one business that I can't have open because they don't open till 10 o'clock. You can't serve liquor till 11 o'clock. I got another building that's supposed to be a restaurant, but they treat it like it's a club. I got, you know, grown people ain't really coming outside because COVID is real. We scared to come outside, so I got a different type of crowd coming in my club. They tearing it up, but I gotta make some money because the light bill is on, the water bill gotta get paid, my savings is going down, and I'm like, God, like, come on, this your girl. Like, I go to church, I help people, like, I look out for people, like, and I just was really upset with God. I was just so mad. I'm like, yo. And then after, you know, I had my little, you know, moment, and I kind of got myself together because I was really frustrated with God. And then I realized, you know, he spoke to me, and because I'm a big Gotti. I went to church today. You know, I'm a big Gotti. And he said to me, clear as day, he said, Court, COVID didn't happen just to you. But not everybody grossed $2.2 million before COVID. And I was like, I got through it.
Right.
I ain't get through with the money I made. You know, I had to spend it. You know what I'm saying? I had to put it up, you know, some up, but, you know, a lot of it was gone because when you have an operation like that, and I had 2 buildings, both of my rent was $10,000 in each building, right? At the time I had 40 employees. You know what I'm saying? So you trying to keep this big ship afloat. Imagine a Carnival cruise ship running out of gas in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's just like, you know, I was so upset, but then I realized, I said, but everybody didn't. He gave me the provision before I had. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, I can't even be mad at him because not everybody has that same story. No. So, you know, I then got back to it and I just was laughing. I was like, yo, you got to trust him. Like, he has never failed you. And there are times where you have to just realize that's just a season. I was holding on to these buildings because I thought, like, I did it, I can do it again, but it was literally just to take care of you during this season.
That's it.
And I had to let it go. I was holding on to something that God was trying to say, let it go. And I kept holding on because I'm like, but I saw the money that I did the first go around. I'm like, I gotta get that back. Jesus. And he was just saying, let it go. I had took care of you so you could get through this season. So, you know, when I finally got to it, I was like, yo, trust God. Like, just listen to him. Stop trying to fight him. Stop trying to go against him. He know what he be doing. Even when you think it don't make sense. When you're going through it and you hurt and you sad, and I'm like, why is this happening to me? They fighting in here. They shooting at my spot. Like, God, he like, let it go. I've given you enough to chill out through this whole COVID storm, and you throwing the money away in this business. Let it go. So trusting God is just a big thing,
Right.
and that's I can go on and on about God, y'all don't understand. But anyways, go ahead.
You do. I can see how you do.
Yeah, so that's trusting God is just one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, because I threw away a lot of money. I wasted a lot of sleepless nights if I had just listened to God and followed what He had designed for me. But I went to do it my way.
Do you wear, like, when you say you throw away a lot of money, like you wear designer clothes and? Like,
No, I'm talking about throwing
money?
away money in the business. I think that I was fighting to keep it open when I should have let it go. Mm-hmm. When they were people in my building that I don't even, I don't know them. They tearing it up, they fighting, they shooting, and I'm holding on to this thing. And he's like, let it go.
Let it go.
He's been showing me the sign. I wasn't paying attention. All I'm thinking about is what I remember that bank account looking like, and I'm like, I gotta get back to that.
That's what I got.
So that's what the issue was, and I lost a lot of me, even in fighting. I lost more than money. I lost sleep. I lost my peace. I lost parts of me because there are people depicting a story of me that they don't even know me. You know what I'm saying? And I just had to understand, like, God had been telling you, let it go.
Right.
And I didn't. And so,
Right.
But I do wear designer. I ain't no designer, crazy girl. You know what I'm saying? I am a Fashion Nova. I am a local boutique girl. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's who I am. But thank you for asking me that. Trust God.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
So what's your one piece of advice for our listeners?
Besides trusting God, piece of advice to who?
Just
to the world.
I guess.
And me too.
I guess have a purpose. I tell people all the time, if you don't have a purpose for what you're doing, it's pointless. If you're just doing something to make money, it's pointless. Believe it or not, when I started doing erotic poetry, my purpose was to get guys from Charleston to be cultured in some aspect.
Right.
That was my purpose, right? Because you got to think, how many of these guys would have ever heard a poem, came to a poetry show, right? But because it was erotic, it's still a form of poetry, right? So now I got gold mouth dreads. Hey, when the next erotic poetry is? And I was like, yeah, I got my people asking about poetry, So that was my purpose. It wasn't just about making money. It was like, I want to expose, because I grew up different. I grew up in a household where my grandmother made sure that I was instilled in performing arts. My father made sure that I was in extracurricular things like sports and things of that nature. So it's important to me to have purpose behind everything that I do. And the erotic poetry show, I tell people all the time, there were a lot of people who never put on a pair of slacks before they came to erotic poetry. They want guys like who had been on the block and they heard about erotic poetry and they was like, well, I got to get a button-up shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were a lot of guys who never put on a button-up shirt before and that was my purpose. I wanted to expose so many people from Charleston because, we are the city that people try to play sometime, and we be trying to play ourselves sometime. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nobody has ever done it. Nobody has reached to that group of people and say, but I can show you something. I can expose you to something, and that's always been my purpose. Even from the bonfire, I just want our city to have something different, because you got these festivals in other areas that are huge, and I'm like, we can do this right here. And my purpose has always been to expose my community to something different, to get them to dress up, to grow up in the song, and culture them. That's always been my purpose. So if you don't have purpose behind something you're doing, if money is your objective, it ain't gonna last long. You have to have a purpose behind what you're doing.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Yo. Yeah. So when it dawned on me, though, it was like, if you did let those go and you still had that 2.2, what was you going to do with that?
Baby!
Because no, in my mind, I was over here like, well, I already know what I would have did with the 2.2, you know what I'm saying? Like, I said to myself, I just want a restaurant, sell some pit bulls, and have a nice little spot in the country with about like 5-7 different rooms, but no upstairs. Just a whole land field, pit bulls in the backyard, and something simple as that, and just chill. You know what I'm saying? So what would you
I do
have
a legacy goal, and my legacy goal is to open up a performing arts school, after school program of some sort. I am huge on connecting education in the arts, and I'm just really big on it. I had the privilege of going to the School of the Arts, and now I go back as an adjudicator for the School of the Arts when kids audition. They are 7th grade through 12th grade audition. I'm the theater department who you audition with. And so at that school, I think I can count probably on one hand how many blacks were in the school when I went there, and now it's the same thing. And the issue is when I sit in these rooms, when I'm doing the auditions and I'm doing the interview process with the kids, and I ask the black kids, do you have any experience or any after school program? The answer was always no. The answer is, oh, well, I did a play in church. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But the response from a lot of the white kids is they're involved with Dock Street theaters. They're involved with Footlight Players. They're involved with Creative Sparks. It's just so many different extracurricular activities that they are exposed to when it comes to the arts, and we aren't. I'm sitting in these. The first year I did it, I cried because I was just. It weighed on me so heavy to see how exposed our kids were. And so my legacy goal is to open up a building that can house kids after school to teach them the arts. And the arts is so broad now. It's not just ballet and theater, what I'm saying? There's visual arts, and the visual arts side of things is just so big now. You got graphics, you got gaming, the music side of things. You don't have to just play an instrument. You can make a beat. You can teach them how to record. You can teach them how to, engineer in the studio. You can teach them, all of the technicalities when it comes to the music side of things. When it comes to theater, it's not just theater. It's poetry. It's writing. You can write a book. You can teach them how to write a play. Back in the day, the church was such a big instrument in our community, but a lot of people don't go to church nowadays. So, right? So kids had to learn how to do an Easter speech, and they had to be in a play in church. They're not exposed to these things because a lot of people ain't making them go to church no more. Right. And I get it. I understand. Church is different for people. A lot of people are big with church and religion. That's a huge conversation for most people. But because there is this lack of connection with our kids and exposing them to so much more, and I just feel like the white kids, not because their parents want them to, they're just better exposed. Right. And we are underexposed, and I just want to create something where we can expose our kids to the arts, and having it range from writing a poem to writing a gaming system, what I'm saying? Creating an app, what I'm saying? Because all of that is art now, what I'm saying? And, I just want to be able, that's my legacy goal, to have a building where I can have kids come in and I teach them. So that's what I definitely would have probably invested in, getting a space that we could build on to where kids can come through. And even podcasting is an art form, what I'm saying? Like teaching them everything about that, because there is no space where we can have as a hub, and kids know, or parents know, like, oh, we can take them to the Mirror. MEAR is what it's going to be called. It's going to be named after my grandmother, Mirror. Minnie Ethel Randolph Alston, But the Mirror Center, where they can teach, kids all of these things. So that's my legacy goal.
That's what's up. I like that name.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a double entendre because her initial is MERA and it says Mirror, but then it's also Mirror. I want to be a reflection of what I want to. I want them to see me and be a mirror of that. I want to be a great reflection for the kids to be like, yo, we can do this. And then even, adults, if they want to get exposed to some things,
Cool. Word.
Right. So what's your life model?
Ooh. I don't know if I got one. I don't know if I have one. I'm a witty girl. I say a lot of cool things sometimes. But I guess I would have to say, I'm such a cool girl, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean cool-mannered as well. Like a lot of things don't bother me. And it's because if you can't change it, like you can't control the things you can't change.
Right.
And I'm really big on that right now. Like I have to be big on that. Like a lot of people get obstacles in front of them and they get super upset. And they get super, I'm like, you can't do nothing about that.
You can't.
You are exerting energy into something that cannot change.
Right, you're right.
Put that energy into how you're going to move differently. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and that's a big thing. That is something that I'd be like, listen, stop sweating the things you cannot change. Like, stop sweating it. Like, move around, figure something else out, because there's a million and one ways to skin a cat. You know, a lot of people see an obstacle and they just get frustrated and they get worn and they get beat up and they give up. And I'm like, no, I ain't giving up. Never. That is
Absolutely.
my dad used to, I'll never forget, I have it in a poem that I wrote. I played basketball and my dad, I think my team, like we won like no games. And this was like
No games.
And my dad would not let me quit the team. He was just big on, if you started, you got to finish it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Whatever
And
you start, you got to finish it.
I agree.
You know, he was big on that, you know. And my dad was a coach as well, so I'm big on whatever you start, you got to finish. That obstacle cannot get in your way. You have to look at it and say, you know what, I learned something, but I'm going to keep on moving. But if you started, you got to see it through. Because you started it for a reason.
Right.
Right? You know,
Right.
that's in
Right.
anything. That's in
Right.
in business, in marriage, in friendship. Like, you have to figure out what made you get here. How did you get here? Why did you come here? You know what I'm saying? And that is what keeps you going on to the next. If you started, you got to finish it. See it through. Now, you don't got to continue doing it forever, but finish the, you know what I'm saying? Finish it.
That's it.
Finish the course and then move
Right.
on. You know, so I'm big on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last time you did some poetry.
The last time,
When was the last time you did some poetry?
it's been about a year.
Been about a year.
But September 22nd, I am entering my first poetry slam. I haven't been in a poetry slam in 12 years.
Brush the dust. Brush the dust.
Yeah, right. I'm getting, you
Brush the
know,
dust.
getting my feet wet again, because my goal is to, in the next 2 years, really get back into the arts super heavy. Because my penmanship is definitely still there. I still write. But poems, I did an unplugged show in August or September of last year. And it was an amazing show. It was a really dope show. I did like a tiny desk version of a show. It was sold out. You know, a lot of people didn't know about it, you know, because I didn't put it out there to a lot of people, but I sold about 200 tickets. It was at a small venue. But I'm getting back into the poetry sector. I have a competition in Greenville, South Carolina on September the 22nd. It's the Queens of the South Poetry Slam. So I'm hoping to bring the W back home. And then I'm looking at entering the Women's of the World International Poetry Slam next year. So I'm getting my pen back up to get back into poetry. Oh yeah, I'm getting back in the, you know, but the last time I competed on a national level, I placed 5th in the South. So, you know,
That's awesome.
you know,
That's
that's
awesome.
that, and that was in 2012. So I'm looking to get back in poetry full time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because I believe that's my calling. I feel like God gave me a voice for a reason, and there's so many people who are touched and impacted by my words and my voice and how I deliver a message. So I really love writing. I just have to, with all the things that I've been doing, I just didn't have time to write as much, you know. And there's a difference between writing in your book and then performance poetry, you know. So I'm getting back into performance poetry because that's where I really soar, and I'm excited about it.
So the poetry book,
Yes.
will this be on the shelf in the future?
You know, what is crazy is I have never published a poem.
Oh, wow.
Never.
Now you right.
Well, I mean,
I have a book.
I just heard you say.
I have a novel called Technically I'm Still Single that is published. But I've never published a poem. And what happened, and literally I was talking about the other day, because back in 2010 when I was doing poetry and I was, you know, doing poetry albums, it was CDs. So, you know, like, we didn't do streaming services, you know, stuff now. So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's time to put some poetry on some streaming sites. You know what I'm saying? So we're in the studio working on something now to put out on some sites, because I sing and I do poetry. And I rap a little bit as well, too.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the studio last night with the Cartel.
you sang a poem.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
I sang on the hook on one of their new songs, and you know, Skip had me do a little hot 4 on one of his joints, you know. So, you know, I think it might have been a 2. I don't know. It might have been a 2, you know. But either way, you know, but yeah, so I definitely, you know, I don't flex a lot of my talents because I'm not passionate about singing.
Right.
I can, but that ain't my thing. I refer people to other singers all the time. You know, I just happen to be gifted to be able to do a couple things. Poetry is just my passion. But this project that I'm working on is going to be a little bit of everything, a little poetry, a little rapping, a little singing. But I'm taking all of my old stuff that I did on my old projects and revamping them and putting something out on the streaming sites.
Okay. Anything else? Any more questions?
Yeah, I know y'all got more questions.
Anybody say no? I think I got another one.
You don't want to know about exotic.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, I mean, I'm from Charleston. You know what I'm saying? I'm really from West Ash area.
Okay.
I ain't never heard nobody talk about did exotic poetry, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know what it was. You know what I'm saying? So I had to Google it, you know. I was like, what is this? Like,
and what did you find out when you Googled that? I can only imagine how that Google looked.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's why I had to ask you, you know what I'm saying, how did you get into it? You come from you said you came from Mount Pleasant, Allendale, right? Mm-hmm. I never knew. I have always heard of Allendale, but I never knew where it was at. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like that was kind of like.
Don't get me wrong. A lot of people don't know a lot about Allendale.
Yeah,
I just, like I said, fortunate enough. I tell people all the time, you know, and I don't know anybody's background here. I know that no one can choose their parents, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I just lucked up and got the luck of the draw when it came to grandparents and parents, you know. I tell people all the time, you know, I mean, God could have gave me a pimp for a daddy and a crack hole for a mom, but he didn't, you know what I'm saying? And I thank him for that, and they just exposed me to different things. My grandmother graduated from Burke. My grandfather pastored at Nichols Chapel AME right there on Back to Green, and my Macedonia AME. So I spent a lot of my free time at Septimus P. Clark downtown. You know, you know what I'm saying? I did a lot of plays, you know, downtown. I was exposed to a lot of different things, but my grandparents made it very clear to me, you know, that you're going to know a little bit about everything. You know what I'm saying? So I was very overexposed to some communities that I wasn't ready for. You know, I went to the YMCA downtown on Cannon Street after school. You know, my best friend lived on Percy Street, so we walked from Cannon to Percy every day after school when I got, you know, to high school. You know, so it was just, they made sure that I wasn't a country girl who knew nothing but the country. You know, so a lot of people, matter of fact, there is a guy who I know from downtown. He argued me up and down one day that I was from downtown. I was like, I'm not from downtown.
You used to go to Burke? You didn't go to Burke?
I did not go to Burke. My grandmother went to graduate from Burke. Okay. But I'm like, I'm not from downtown. But he had saw me his whole life, you know, just around, and he was just like, you're from downtown? I'm like, I'm not from downtown. I'm from Allendale. But my grandfather pastored at 2 churches downtown my entire life, you know. I mean, before then he was like in the Hollywood area, but I wasn't even born then. So, you know, he had seen me so much, but my grandparents just my parents, they just made sure that I wasn't a country girl who stayed in the country, didn't know nothing. But because, believe it or not, you know, there are some people, when I did erotic poetry and I did it at Omar Shrine, there were some people I talked to from downtown who told me they had never been to Mount Pleasant.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, what? You ain't never crossed the bridge?
Over the bridge.
Word. I'm being for real. People would be like, I'd never been to Mount Pleasant.
Over the bridge.
And I'm like, what? But that was a real thing. There was no need for them to go over there.
Right.
The mall is in North Charleston. You know, they live down there. Like, I ain't never been. For what do I have to go over there? To them, or that's where the white people at. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's what they thought. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, ain't no need for me to go over there.
I didn't even know they had a shopping
town center. Mount Pleasant Town Center.
I went to Moultrie. I went to Moultrie Middle School.
And had because it wasn't on that side.
Okay,
you had to go on the other side of Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just like, how y'all ain't never, you know, but I was just exposed to my grandparents. Had me everywhere. I was a YPDer, so you know. Shout out to the AME church. You know, I was a YPDer, so I was always at a church downtown, Ebenezer Morris. You know, bro. So I was always doing something. You know, with the church, I was always. That's how, and that's what people be like. That's why a lot of people knew me, because my grandparents. I was always in something. Right. I was in YPD, so, and I went to the School of the Arts, and the School of the Arts have kids all over Charleston County. So I went to school with people from West Ashley, downtown, James Island, you know, Hollywood, you know. I went to school with all these people, and then my grandparents preaching downtown and being a YPD, and I was a president of the YPD, you know, the Mount Pleasant district when I was young. So we was always going somewhere. I always knew somebody, meeting somebody. But because of that exposure, Allendale, You know, I say it all the time. I'm like, I'm from Arwindale. You know, I represent Arwindale. You know, this little country girl who knew a little bit about something wanted to expose my city and also people to the things that I was exposed to. Now, my parents did not expose me to erotic poetry. I did that on my own. I did that on my own.
That's nice.
You know. Talk dirty to me, you know. Talk dirty to me, you know. I did that on my own, but you know.
Seth
So
cracking up over there.
how your parents feel about that when they?
Man, let me tell you, my parents know their daughter. They love me. My dad has never missed an erotic show. He works the door. Never. My daddy never missed an event I've had.
Oh, wow.
Never. I had a bonfire on his birthday one year. My mama said, that is ridiculous. How you have a bonfire on your daddy's birthday? And he was right there. You know. Yeah, my father is my biggest supporter, actually.
That's awesome.
My dad. But my mom sits front row. You know, they know their child. You know, that's one thing my parents have never censored me. Never. They've never been like, that, you know, that is Courtnay now, you know. It was only they you know, sometimes, you know, and I mean at the erotic show some of the things that I would wear would be pretty skimpy, and my dad, he just knew like, oh, she working, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't anything like that because he knew he knew me for real. The funny thing about it is, y'all, I don't even write erotic poetry.
You got a writer?
I don't. I've never done erotic poetry.
So you just
I produce the show.
right.
So I bring down erotic poets from other places.
Right.
I produced all the games that happened during the show. I host the show. I ain't never wrote an erotic poem in my life. It's a show to me.
Right.
So it's like, you know, my daddy know Courtnay ain't about none of that stuff she talk about all that. Like,
She just talk.
She just cap out. You know, cap out. When fellas be trying to talk to me, they used to be like, yeah, I want that erotic poetry. I'd be like, boy, if you only knew I up there capping. I up there capping. Big time. Big time. Big capping. Cap out.
Alrighty.
You know, so like I've never written an erotic poem. Like I say a couple funny things, like I got a couple erotic bars, but like I've never written an erotic poem. And that's people be like, what? I'd be like, no. Like that's not my style of poetry. I'm not into that. I like listening to it, but that's not what I like to write. It was a business. Like this is a business for me. And that's where some people get it confused. I'm like, this isn't a hobby. This isn't something that I do, you know, for fun. This is a business. When I left my job and this became a full-time business, I had to treat it as such. And in poetry, they're different. So I have neo soul that is for a different audience. And then I have erotic poetry that's for a different audience. And with the events going on, you know, I have the bonfire. That has its own audience. I have the R&B picnic. That has its own audience. You know what I'm saying? And if there's anything else that I do, when you come to event planning, I don't have just one. Walmart got everything. They got clothes for babies and for old people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like they are a business and they are trying to reach everyone. You know, they reaching people who are handicapped. You need a cane, they got it in Walmart. You know what I'm saying? You need running shoes, they got it in Walmart. I'm a business and I don't intend on bottling my business to say I only want to cater to one group of people because that minimizes your dollar, your business. And I'm not trying to do that. So I have to treat it as such. Each business has its own demographic of people. For people confuse it, that's not my job. I can't fault you. You know, that's what you're doing. People who understand business understand that event just ain't for me. But when she do that one, I'm gonna come to that one. You know what I'm saying? So when I decided to be a full-time entertainer, I had to treat my business as a business. And a lot of people get it confused because there were people who love Neo Soul Sunday and was just like, we want Neo Soul Sunday. I'm like, you can come to that show. You just can't come to this one.
Right.
Just don't come to this one. You know, go to that. You know, we at the bonfire be too turned. Don't come to that. Go to this. You know. So it's just, you know, some people try to put me as the person. We like Courtnay who do this, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I'm a business, and in order for me to be a business that grows, because if the people who started erotic poetry with me, I mean, Neo Soul Sunday with me in 2009, a lot of those people were older than me. You know, I was 27 or something when I started that. So a lot of the people who was coming to the shows were like 40, 30 something. They 50, almost 60 now. I'm still in the business.
Right.
I can't just cater to you.
Right.
Y'all ain't coming outside like that.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
no.
You know, so you have to cater in a lot of people. And I think that is just because Charleston is just, I think I might have been one of the first of its kind down here to be an entertainer who does so much.
Yes.
They're just not used to somebody not just catering to them.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, no, I intend to broaden, you know, this business sector of things. So yeah, you know, it's okay. It's been trying, trust me, but that's why, you know, this year the Bonfire is moving to Charlotte. Yeah.
Why are you doing that?
Well then, I have a big vision for the Bonfire. My vision for the Bonfire is to be like Rolling Loud. Is to be like
So hold on.
Dreamville.
Sorry, I mean to cut you off. So you trying to tell me ain't gonna be no more bonfire in Charleston? That's what you trying to say?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
No more bonfire.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
South Carolina.
No, there will not be. As far as I can see right now, no. It was a big, tough business decision for me to make. I feel like, man, I'm leaving money on the table. But my vision for it is so big that I have to not get distracted by the small things.
Okay.
My vision for the Bonfire is to be like Rolling Loud, Dreamville, One Music Fest. Charleston does not have a lot when it comes to the entertainment side of things.
Right.
I agree.
People, when you think of Charlotte, it's more of a, I can go there for the weekend. As you know, we can do stuff on Friday, go to the Bonfire on Saturday, we do a brunch on Sunday, and that's that. You know, we don't have a lot of venues, establishments, arenas to host thousands of people coming from out of town who are partiers, because Charleston is touristy. You know, the Bonfire is a big party. You know what I'm saying? And so it needs to be, I think, in a more party welcoming environment that is doing things of that nature already, that can handle that type of crowd. You know, Charlotte had CIAA for a while, you know, when people were coming from all over to hang out. Basketball game was the focal, but it was a big party. Now, granted, I am still taking portions of the proceeds and bringing it home because I work with a nonprofit down here. Shout out to my boy Keith Smalls.
All right, Keith.
Yeah, you know, so you know, I'm still taking care of home with the Bonfire. You know, bringing a lot of the, portions of the proceeds to take care of couple nonprofits, but Keith is one of my main ones. I love that brother and everything that he got going on.
Awesome.
Yeah,
He's
a great.
awesome guy.
His integrity is just through the roof.
Yes,
you
he
know,
is.
and but what I want for this event is so much bigger, and I don't think that Charleston is ready for it. And when I say Charleston, I mean the powers that be, white people. You know, I think that it's a party. And I think that they're afraid about, it's just even the amount of respect that I've gotten from the venue owners and the police department and the fire department in the new area that I'm bringing it to has been so overwhelming. You know, they're like, yeah, let's do 28,000 people, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
Like, not yet, we get there. But that is my goal. My goal is to make it a 2-day festival. My goal is to make it a Friday and a Saturday night. By 2026, I want it to be a Friday and a Saturday night at Bonfire in Charlotte. And then in 2027, I want to branch off to Houston and do Bonfire in Houston. So I just know that what I have going on, I think I have done the most that I can do here when it comes to that event. I don't think it can go any further.
So heartbreaking.
I'm sorry.
Very.
I mean, trust me, it was heartbreaking to me as well. But when I think of,
She can't cater to you. She
when
When
I think of these other places like the One Music Fest, and when I think of these events that I admire and how people make it, not even people, me. One Music Fest is October 26th, 27th this year. Let me book my room. I'm going to Atlanta for One Music Fest. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Rolling Loud is December. What? I'm going to Miami. Let me book my room. I'm going to Rolling Loud. Dreamville is what day? Oh, yeah, I'm booking Bonfire weekend. We're booking our rooms. We're going to Charlotte. That's what I want to happen. You know, that's what I want it to be. And just on the entertainment side of the city, we just don't have what it takes to entertain thousands of people coming here for a weekend. You know, there ain't a lot of black establishments for them to go to. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm gonna tell them to go to. We got the Ritz, we got Jungle Spot. Like, I love those guys, but they're not equipped. They're not equipped to, you know, do that. You know what I'm saying? We don't have it. You know, when it comes to people who come out of town for this, who want to come out of town for this event. And then in Charlotte, you got Greenville, that's an hour away. Columbia is closer. Rock Hill is right there. Raleigh, Fayetteville, Asheville, Greensboro, North Carolina, and there's so many people from those areas who are like, yeah, we're excited about it coming this way. And because I love home and and they love me, I know a lot of them gonna come up there and support. You know, they're gonna come up, they're gonna get their room.
You know
they're coming up there. You know what I'm saying? So it's never too. I tell people I could never play Charleston. Bonfire wouldn't be Bonfire without Charleston. This is where I started. I love home. No matter what anybody says about me on social media, I love them. You know what I'm saying? I love home. I could not be who I am without home. You know what I'm saying? This is who supported me. You know? And so, but it's just, this is one of those things where it's time to grow. And I think I've reached the ceiling in Charleston when it comes to that event. And you know what happens when you hit the ceiling? You got to come back down. And I don't want it to do that. I want it to keep going. So I sorry.
I understand.
Let me. I'm gonna get your hotel room. Your hotel room on me.
Right.
Your hotel room on me.
No, but one thing I did notice too, that's Burke Homecoming. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
I'm a bulldog
too.
So I'm gonna be.
Listen. So my homegirl called me. She said, why you did the bonfire on Burke Homecoming weekend? I said, that's the game on Friday. She said, but my 20th anniversary is this year, man. I can't come. I said, I'm sorry, next year. I said, Burke Homecoming supposed to have been before November 2nd now.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I don't understand that neither. I'm like, the last game on the schedule is Burke Homecoming.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
But
and that's what I said. I thought I beat all the homecomings. I didn't think it was nobody homecoming. She said, yeah, Burke. No, I said, I hate it. But that's just this year. Yeah. You know, that's just this year. We're trying to get a couple year deals. And in Charlotte, because there's so much going on, we've had major sponsors already reaching out to us because festivals are a thing there. These type of things happen often, you know. So we've had a lot of big sponsors reaching out, and the venue has been helping us as well with that. They're like, hey, you should reach out to this. They've been putting us in contact with people who are looking to get on and be big sponsors. So you know, it ain't the first year, you know. Gonna be many more to come, and I think it's gonna be hard for me not to do a bonfire in Charleston. Just to let you know, trust me, because I'm already in my head like, well, maybe I could do it for my birthday. My birthday in January, and I was like, maybe I can do a birthday bonfire. But I'm like, you know, but I want to stick to the script and say, you know, once a year, you know. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So, how did you move from here to Charlotte?
Yes.
How did that happen?
The truth? Look at it. You want the truth?
No cap.
Because you get on the stage and you
I know.
Yeah,
I've been capping about that.
Yeah,
The truth, man, that's a crazy story. My best friend died December 26, 2004. And his birthday was January 6th, 1984. I was born January 7th, 1984. And he died 2 weeks before our 21st birthday. And I couldn't take it. I couldn't be in Charleston without him. We'd had every birthday party together. Literally, my 21st birthday, we had a party at Hughie's and at LJ's. And I met a guy in the club. Bunch of us was hanging out. And to this day, me and this guy are still friends. Shout out to John. He lives in D.C. He was just randomly in Charleston, and we were having a great time. And he was just like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, you know, just couldn't celebrate my birthday the right way. And I had a two-door Ford Explorer, and I had a ball tire in the back, think 2 bald tires. And he was like, I'm telling you, he was like, you just look so sad. It was just, I was broke back then. I was broke back then. And, and he went to the gas station and was after LJ's. We was at that gas station on Meeting. I think it's a Exxon. And he was filling up everybody's gas tank. He was stunting. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to holler at one of my homegirls or something. I don't know. And he kept talking to me. He's like, you need to get your tire. I was like, I know. and I was just like, man, I'm just so depressed. He was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, I just want to leave here. And he's like, for real, where you want to go? I was like, I want to go to Charlotte. Like, I just want to get away. The next morning, he called me. He bought me 4 brand new tires. Went to the tire shop. We didn't go to it was no way to put them on. He just bought me 4 brand new tires from Walmart or something. I put them in the back of my truck and I moved to Charlotte the next day. Now my parents went to Johnson Smith University in Charlotte. So my godmother lived there. I showed up to her doorstep unannounced, hey, I need somewhere to stay. And I stayed in that room for 2 weeks just crying. And my mom came and she picked me up and she said, you gotta move on. You have to move. He's gone. You gotta get yourself together. And I just never could have imagined living my life without him. This December will be 20 years that he's been gone. And it broke me, and I just needed to get away. I didn't want to see anybody who reminded me of him. I just wanted to leave Charleston. And I was, vibrating very low. I didn't care about anything. I got a restaurant job, and I would literally make a bunch of money in tips and then go to the strip club with the homies and throw all the money in the club and go do it again the next day. I literally just was like, I'm just existing. And then I fell into a poetry spot accidentally, working as a waitress, and they did a poetry night at this jazz cafe I was working at, and I met some really nice poets, and I kind of just and then it was an open mic. I got on the mic and I did some poetry, and they really liked mine, and then I started, and my coworkers didn't even know I did poetry. They was like, and they were like, what are you doing here? Why are you waiting tables with us? And I was just like, I don't be, and after that they were all like, you need to be doing this shit, you know what I'm saying? So I would go to the poetry shows and stuff, and then a partner of mine who worked with me in the restaurant, he was like, you are crazy, you are talented, what are you doing? And I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, And then we started doing some parties in Charlotte, and the poetry started picking up, and then I did that for a couple years, and I came home. But I moved to Charlotte literally because I just was depressed. I needed to see something different, I was literally broken when my best friend died. So, yeah. But Charlotte was good to me, and I love Charlotte still to this day.
Love
but
Charlotte.
Yeah. Love it. Love Charlotte. Love Charlotte to this day.
Love Charlotte.
But that is definitely how I got there.
So some people believe that moving out of state or even out of South Carolina is definitely the best move, nowadays, well, not even nowadays. I just always been kind of hearing it, know. And some people move, and it doesn't always work out too well.
It won't.
Or some people have the story to where that was the best thing they ever did.
Got you.
And,
yeah.
I see that a good bit, you know what I'm saying? So if your friend hadn't passed away, do you believe, we all got our own opinion and paths, but do you believe that is really definitely a top-notch decision, just moving out of South Carolina?
It depends if you a hustler. I tell you, if you vibrate low and you ain't no hustler in Charleston, you ain't gonna hustle in Atlanta or Charlotte or Houston or Columbia or wherever you go. It gotta be in you.
Right.
For instance, myself, I love home. I should have left here a long time ago. I should have left here a long time ago. I have people in positions who've been begging me to move a long time ago, but I just never did.
So what made you not stay? What made you not leave?
Fear. When I had this conversation yesterday. You know how people say people are afraid of success? That's a real thing. That's a real thing. I'm a living testament to it. I am afraid of how powerful
you'll be.
I am and can be. I'm afraid. I'm terrified. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what to do with it. I'm I don't know how I will handle what comes next. Now I'm in this space where I'm like, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. But there was a long time of me, I'm just afraid. I'm afraid, I don't know. And, one of my best friends, DJ Louis V, he's in Atlanta, and he is kicking ass, and he's doing amazing things. He's Dwayne Wade's DJ, and he does NBA All-Star Weekend. He's the, he DJ Envy, DJ for all his car shows, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's just like, Court, come. Like, just come, I got you. And I'm just like, no, I'm okay, and then we'll do a show in Atlanta and it'll sell out. And people are like, oh my God, why don't you come in? I'm like, And now I'm just like, I'm tired of operating in this. This is just good enough for me because I do well, but I can only imagine if I actually leave and did it. I know that I'll go to where I need to be, and so that's where I'm heading. It shouldn't have took me this long, but it did, and I'm not mad about my journey. I'm ready, but fear of success is a real thing, and I'm a living testament to it. Like, I have always been afraid of how crazy my life could possibly go. But now I'm like, give it to me. But I'm also in a different space now as well. Me and God have talked. I've told him I'm ready. I've asked him, I'm like, yo, God, remember them M's? I'm ready for them again. Like I done had that conversation with God, like, hey, big man, them M's, I'm ready for them again now. Go ahead and bless your girl. I know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm more financially responsible. You know what I'm saying? I have a partner in life right now who is very financially responsible, and he's a big support system. My parents have always been a huge support system. I'm like, big God, give them to me now. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm not afraid anymore.
Word.
That's why I did. I even skied a little bit. Because when you're coasting and you're doing so well where you are, you'd be like, this is enough. This is enough. But I'm like, nah.
Put yourself in the people.
I'm so much more talented. Like, people don't even, the crazy part about it is people know about the bonfire, but they don't even know that I'm a poet.
Right.
I feel like they don't even know I do art. Right. They don't even know how talented I am. And that's not their fault, it's mine. Because I don't expose it enough.
Right. You put other people in there.
Yeah.
Put other people in the spotlight instead of yourself.
Facts.
Yeah. I noticed that.
Yeah. And one day I think I'll open up a record label or something, or like a talent company or something, because I do love exposing talent. I do love getting behind talent as well. Mm-hmm. But I do believe that there is a voice in me that's a talent in me that I've been suppressing for too long, and it's time to pop my collar and act real bad and bougie.
Mm-hmm. And see, just like how you say, like, Charleston is not really, that ready for, like, those type of big things,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So I've kind of always noticed that we've had, like, some type of cap on top of us, to just keep us from really, being like Atlanta, Charlotte, and things of that nature, but so, like, could you break down, like, what would it take, or what would have to happen, like, even including the politics, politicians in the city, like, what would they have to do to remove that cap to where we can actually be that Atlanta city or Charlotte?
That's a loaded question. What we have done so far, the city of Charleston is too late.
Oh.
I tell people all the time.
Right.
North Charleston, we might can save.
No way, yes. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
the first issue is we don't vote.
Right. Okay.
That's the biggest, like, we could talk about politics all day, but if we're not getting that 18 to 25 age group out to vote, we wasting our conversation. We got to get out and vote. Right. If we want to change some things politically, we have to put the people in the seats, but that requires us to go vote. You know what I'm saying? And once we are outside getting voted, we have to organize. We have to say, we're a group right here, right? What do we want to see the change to be in our city? Right. We got a group of people. We organizing, we're going to get behind a candidate, we're going to go to these meetings, we're going to talk to these people. We're not doing that as a people. So we can waste our time talking about, as a people, we got to organize. Forget the politicians. Mm-hmm. The people got to organize first. Then we can attack the politicians and to make demands and tell them what we want. But we don't organize as a people. We're not registering to vote. We're not. And then you have people who say crazy things like, I'm not going to vote. And that's just something I refuse to do because being my grandfather, like I said, was the first mayor of Allendale. Mm-hmm. What I look like not voting. He was mayor for 17 years. What I look like not voting. Like, you crazy.
Imagine his response if you told him you did not.
What? Imagine that. You know what I'm saying? So, but it takes things like that to welcome these type of, you know, we have them all the time. They're all kind of big rock concerts and everything on Riverfront Park. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things happen, you know? It's just, we got to organize and we got to make some demands and we got to go out there and talk and represent for the people. But if we're not going to do that, ain't no need to point the fingers at the politicians.
Right.
We got to come together as a people.
Right.
So, yeah, you know.
Right.
Everything Ming.
Everything, man. All in the man.
All in the Ming.
All in the
Yeah, we got a special gift for you. Well, special
Yes.
gift.
I just say, who coming out? Take it out. This is rotting. Y'all don't pay me out. Don't pay me
capping.
I do be capping. I do be capping. Cap out. Cap out. Cap out.
But this
Oh,
is a
I'm a comedian too. Don't trust me. My comedy special is coming out soon.
all right. You do it all. You wear all.
You know?
all umbrella. You under all umbrella. But Ms. Courtney, we're
Yes.
gonna give you a small token. We
I
thank you
appreciate
for
you.
coming on our show. We really appreciate you, and we really appreciate you what you have done for Charleston.
Thank
you bring
you.
out the best in everybody. We thank you so much for what you're doing and
Thank
what
you.
what's more to come.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate your entrepreneurship.
I
and thank
appreciate
you for
you.
coming today.
Oh, damn! Thank you, Bookie man. y'all gotta have me come back, and I'm gonna cook for y'all for real now.
Yes. This is yours too.
Oh Lord, I'm on a diet. I done had 3 Hennessy margaritas today, so
You have a cheat day.
I'm about to say
it's about to be a cheat day today. How you know I like by Keith girl?
I know you like it. I told my cousin that. I said, listen.
Listen, it's
So
it's
my
like
people
crack.
love my
It's
kids.
crack.
He was like, I don't know. He said, I don't know. He said, that's too. I tell him that's too
No,
easy.
that-
you
yeah,
know,
no.
you have to give something.
I'm a nothing but cakes girl. You know, I live in Somerville, so
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
I be going in.
Okay.
I appreciate y'all, man. Listen, y'all got to do this. For real, I want to come back and I want to cook for y'all.
Okay.
Because, like I said, you know, I got the catering company as well, A.I.T.M.
Okay.
And
Okay.
oh, we still filming. I thought we was on. My bad. Catering company, A.I.T.M. Catering company with Executive Chef Marcus Green, my bae. He is an amazing chef. So God sent me the man. Not only that, you know, I kind of was like, oh, he kind of cute, but I actually kind of needed him because we do the same thing. We have the same drive, same hustle, and we both want so much out of life. So, and it just so happened he can cook too.
Okay.
So we got together. People don't understand the restaurant side of things. My father was a chef for 17 years. Okay. My dad opened up the California Dreamers in Charleston.
Okay.
My dad is a big boy chef, you know, and then he left that to go into the school system. So restaurants have always been a part of my life. And then I met a man who family has a catering company. He catered at USC for 5 years, and so we both love food. Yeah, we love the food and beverage industry. So now we do catering, A.I.T.M. Catering. We be booked up, baby, but we love cooking. And A.I.T.M. is in French with love. So we love to cook. So yeah.
that's deep.
Yeah, you know,
Definitely,
with
yes,
love. Don't laugh at me. I am a clown. I'm a clown. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. A lot of people don't know that, you know. I'm an introvert, extrovert. You know, when I'm not doing this, I'm at home by myself, talking to myself mostly.
That's what's up.
Or smoking a hookah or something like that. When I'm out in front, you know, I'm always laughing. I'm always cracking jokes. I'm always being that person. But when I'm at home, like when I get in the car, I'm gonna be playing some R&B music or some gospel and go home and sleep.
Asleep. Okay.
I'm pretty boring in real life.
Word.
Yeah. Things you don't know about the poet. I be capping on the mic.
That's it.
And I'm born in real life.
So that's how you met Tawana at School of Arts?
Yes,
That's
my
my girl.
whole gang is School of the Arts. Yes,
what's up.
Tawana Tolbert is my girl. She does a lot of PR for me, and when I allow her to, you know, I have a big hard head, you know, but Tawana does a lot of PR stuff for me as well.
Word.
Contracts. That's my girl.
Yeah, I've been knowing the family since elementary school.
Yeah, I see Zach this morning at church at Royal.
That's my girl. Zay used to let us. She'd be like, if the curse word in the Bible you can say, but
Yeah.
otherwise, why she
Uh-huh.
didn't tell us that? Man, I've been
Nothing but
letting
damn,
loose.
damn,
Oh
damn,
my
damn,
gosh.
damn.
Zed,
Ass,
when I see her, Zed, what the hell going on? You know, something like that. Like, boy, listen, Zed used to look out. Like, we used to be to them boy house till like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as she know where we at, we
Yeah.
safe, we under the roof. She didn't care about nothing. We used to take
yeah.
the van and go to Harris Teeter late at night.
Oh,
or whatever.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Tawana's my girl. Yeah.
Definitely.
Tawana's my girl.
but we good, y'all? We
Yeah.
good? That's it?
Check out.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. You know, we all in the Ming. We in the Ming. Appreciate you, Miss Courtnay, the poet, for coming through.
Everything Ming-a-ling.
Until next time.
Peace.
Deuces.
You better get yourself together. Yeah, you better love yourself. You better take care of yourself. You can't love no one else if you don't love yourself.